Hello, good people. I waited so long to get my hands on it. Fortunately, its price came down recently, so I bought this one for review. In fact, I paid less for it than for the previous Lexar SSD. Spatium M480 is a high-end PCI Express 4.0 NVMe SSD launched by MSI about 2 years ago when SN-A50 and Gamix S70 blade were already on sale. M480 has DRAM for caching and is advertised as an all-purpose SSD with declared read speed of up to 7000 MB per second on PCI Express 4.0 M.2 interface and higher endurance than usual gaming SSDs. The 1TB model has an endurance of 700 TB written, compared to Western Digital SN-A50 or Samsung 980 Pro, which only have an endurance of 600 TB written. Spatium M480 is producing capacities of 500 GB, 1 TB and 2 TB, and benefits from a 5-year warranty within the endurance limit specific to each capacity. Inside the box, you can find a plastic holder with cover containing the precious SSD and the support guide. The drive has only an informative level on the front. Like other drives, this drive is single-sided, which can be advantageous for compatibility and cooling. The testing of Spatium M480 1TB drive will be performed after mounting it in both the motherboard's PCI Express 4.0 and PCI Express 3.0 slots, both of them being provided with heatsinks. In Windows, in order for a new drive to be used, we must first initialize it. For that, we just need to open disk management. Once opened, I am prompted to initialize the newly added disk. I click OK and the initialization is done. The next step is to create a volume. For that, right-click on the unallocated space and create a new volume of maximum capacity, assign a drive letter, and the volume label, then click Next and finish. The newly created volume can now be used. I just installed the MSI Center application. Let's see what can it tell about the new drive before starting the testing. First of all, we have to agree the terms of use. Then we wait a bit for application to load for the first time. In the Feature Set window, we have to install System Diagnosis. Once installed, just click on the Open button. Overall, the MSI Center seems very slow. We can see the storage devices under the storage status. And this is all the info we can get: firmware version, interface speed, connectivity, and the possibility to backup the OS from the old drive and restore it to MSI One. All the tests are done, so let's see how it compares with the other 1TB NVMe drives with DRAM tested here. In Crystal DiskMark, in the peak performance test with 1GB file, M480 gets the first place with sequential speeds way above the advertised ones. It sustains the high sequential speeds also in the peak performance test with 8GB file, this time occupying the second place. In the real-world performance test with 1GB file, the MSI drive places the second, above SN-A50, due to its higher write speeds. However, in the real-world performance test with 8GB file, M480 regains the first place, showing the highest write speeds. As SSD benchmark determines the sequential and random read and write performance of the SSD without using the operating system cache. In the test with 1GB file, M480 places the second, 30 points less than Fury Renegade. In the test with 10GB file, M480 occupies the mid position with 7,897 points. In the Passmark Smart testing, the M480 gets again the first position, above Fury Renegade, with 2200 points more. On PCI Express 4.0, MSI Spatium M480 maintained reasonable temperatures, both on idle and during Crystal DiskMark testing, when it reached a maximum temperature of 50 Celsius degrees. On PCI Express 3.0, all the high-end drives are forcing interfaces limits to the max. Let's see the M480 achievements. In Crystal Dismark, in a peak performance test with 1GB file, M480 occupies the second position, shadowing Kingston's drive results. And the behavior repeats in a peak performance test with 8GB file, M480 placing again the second. In the real-world performance test with 1GB file, Spatium M480 holds the second place, showing the highest sequential write speeds. In the real-world performance test with 8GB file, it manages to grab the first place, showing undisputable speeds. In the ASSSD benchmark with 1GB file, M480 steals the first place with 8,301 points. However, in a test with 10GB file, M480 falls behind the SN850 with a score of 6,809 points. The Passmark Dismark testing places M480 on a second position, right below Fury Renegade. On PCI Express 3.0, MSI Spatium M480 maintained reasonable temperatures both on idle and during Crystal Dismark testing, when it reached a maximum temperature of 46 Celsius degrees. The 3D Mark storage benchmark evaluates performance by running gaming-related tasks and repeats them 3 times, this way managing to stress the drives enough to get a clear differentiation in terms of gaming performance. Therefore, the testing on PCI Express 4.0 places the MSI drive on the 3rd place with a score of 3,540 points. The Forspoken benchmark tests the load times of different game scenes, providing the individual results. I repeat the testing 3 times and pick the run with the best average. On PCI Express 4.0, the best average load time positions Spatium M480 on the 1st place. On PCI Express 3.0, the 3D Mark storage benchmark places Spatium M480 on the 2nd place, right above SN850, with a score of 3,118 points. The best average load time in Forspoken benchmark on PCI Express 3.0 positions again M480 on the 1st place. In the left chart, you can see the best current prices of the tested drives in Romania, the usable capacity in megabytes, and the endurance for each of them. In the right chart is the resulted price for 100 megabytes of usable capacity. For Spatium M480 1TB, 100 megabytes of usable capacity costs now just €6.12, but the cost is just one aspect. Another aspect is the specific daily endurance. Based on the 5 years warranty of the drives and their rated endurance, we can determine the amount of data in gigabytes that can be written each day during the warranty. And Spatium M480 1TB supports daily writes up to 392 gigabytes of content. Now let's relate the price to the performance. MSI Spatium M480 1TB costs today 282 RON, equivalent to €57. Considering its price and performance in the 3D Mark storage benchmark on PCI Express 4.0 as 100%, we can see that the Kingston Fury Renegade 1TB costs 39% more for just 7% more performance. If we consider Fury Renegade's price and performance in the 3D Mark storage benchmark as 100%, we can see that Spatium M480 costs 28% less for only 7% lower performance. Basically, Spatium M480 traded blows with Fury Renegade in all the synthetic benchmarks, where they've shown very similar performance. Only the 3D Mark storage benchmark was able to make the difference between the two. If we look in the testing results of AutoDis benchmark, we can see the similarities as well as the differences both on sequential read and on sequential write. The similarities come from the fact that they both use the renowned Phison E18 DRAM based 12nm controller. From this point on, both the DRAM and the NAND flash configuration is different. As proven by 3D Mark storage benchmark, the combo with Micron 96-layer 3D TLC NAND cannot outrun the one with the newer Micron 176-layer 3D TLC NAND. From my point of view, the Spatium M480 is the best pick as long as it keeps being cheaper than the Fury Renegade to a certain degree. Anyway, there are Gen 4 drives out there that may outrun all the drives tested in this video, so make sure to subscribe to not miss the new reviews. I hope this video has been informative for you. From me, a big thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and spend responsibly. God help.